So you are a Zionist, right?
Right.
And so what is a Zionist?
I think it's very important we define the terms that we use, because a lot of people have different definitions or wrong definitions. And at the end of the day, the words that we use, it's not about the sound that we make, it's about what they mean. Right? And so Zionism comes from the word Zion, which means Jerusalem. And so someone who is a Zionist believes in the concept of Zionism, which is the right for the Jewish people to self-determine on their ancestral homeland. The Jews are an ancient people who come from the land of Israel/Judea. That's where we're indigenous to. That's where our civilization was founded. We were displaced by the Roman Empire and different empires who came. And the idea of us having the right to come back home is the idea of Zionism. And anyone who believes in that right for the Jews to return is a Zionist.
And so is a Zionist Jew, is that a religion or culture?
The Zionist aspect is the ideology that you agree that the Jews should have a right to return back home. So a non-Jew, yourself, if you believe the Jews should have a right to self-determine on their ancestral homeland, you yourself would be a Zionist. Now there's right-wing Zionists, left-wing Zionists, Christian Zionists, Jewish Zionists, so there's all kinds of different views when it comes to this idea, but the core idea is that the Jews should be able to come back, and it has nothing to do with another people who live there or conflicts with them. It's purely the idea that Jews have the right to come back.
Oh, so it's not a religion either, it's just that Jews should come back to their land.
Right, when it comes to Zionism. Now, Judaism, a lot of people, in my opinion, misdefine it as religion. Right. And the reason I say they misdefine it is because the word religion is defined as a belief system in a God, deity, book, or a prophet. So if one doesn't believe in the God, deity, book, or prophet of said religion, by the very definition, they're not a part of it. Which is why a Christian that rejects Jesus is no longer a Christian. A Muslim that rejects Muhammad or the Quran is no longer a Muslim. A Buddhist that rejects the philosophies of Buddha is no longer a Buddhist, right? You have to believe in this ideology to be a part of that religion. Now, a Jew that doesn't believe in Torah, which is our book, or doesn't believe in the law of Moses or in God, they're still a Jew. So it's not a wandering ideology that one is a part of it if in the moment they believe in it or not. It is a portable suitcase that when we were kicked out of our ancient civilization, in order to preserve who we were, we packed in our ancestry, our culture, our spirituality, our language, our laws, our customs, our values, our morals, everything inside, and we labeled this suitcase Judaism, and we passed it down generation to generation with the aspiration of one year we'll come back home to Jerusalem and revive that civilization. So I don't look at Judaism as a religion, I look at it as a portable version of an ancient civilization.
And that's how all the Zionists sees it? They see it the same way?
I think a lot of Jews use the term religion, but they mean different things than the way the world uses the word religion. The way I described Judaism, I would say the majority of Jews would agree with my definition, but they would still use the word religion because they don't quite understand that the way the world is using it is differently than how we're misusing it.
Mess. So are you a religious person?
Yes, I definitely am religious with what I believe in.
You believe in Jesus?
No, I believe Jesus was a person. I believe in God, but I don't believe that Jesus is God nor the Messiah.
So you don't believe that, do all Zionists believe this about Jesus, that Jesus is not the Son of God?
So Zionists are people who believe that Jews should be able to return, like yourself.
Right.
But people who are Jewish, the vast majority of Jews do not believe that Jesus is the Son of God, the Messiah, a version of God. There are some Jews who do believe that, but they're a minority.
Yeah. Why don't you believe, you personally, why don't you believe that Jesus is the Son of God?
Right, so to believe something, you have to have evidence or you have to have enough proof for your opinion to change and to accept that. Like I could ask you, why don't you believe Muhammad is a prophet? In order for you to accept that, someone would have to provide you with the relevant information for you to come to that conclusion. And from a Jewish perspective, we do not see this person, Jesus, who clearly was an influential revolutionary of his time, right? Clearly influenced a lot of people around the world and created waves that till this day we can see are happening. So he was clearly a historical figure, but we don't see him as a Messiah, as a Mashiach. There are many things that have to happen in our view that for a person to be Mashiach. World peace, the tribes of Israel have to be reunited, all wars have to cease, the dead have to come back alive. So there's a lot of things that have to happen.
But Jesus did all that. He died, he came back, and then he rose to the Father.
Well, that's your opinion. I don't.
But you don't believe that happened?
No, I don't believe that.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you're still waiting for the Messiah?
Correct.
But he has come and gone and returned.
In your opinion?
Yeah, he lives within us.
In your opinion.
But you don't believe that.
No, I don't believe in that. I also think that,
Wow.
that Mashiach, Messiah, is not just a person, but a time period. A time period where humanity will have a correction and we will be able to have sort of human evolution of bringing spirituality and physicality together. A recalibration of the human experience. Right now, we're the most conscious species, right? If you compare us to other animals, and we're very conscious. And yet, we're the most destructive species.
That's because most people, that include Christians and Jews and Allah people, and they don't believe in Jesus. They believe about him, but they don't believe in him. And as a result of not believing in him, they're animals. They act like animals. They have no love. They hate one another. They try to hurt one another because they are in the fallen state. They're in the animal nature.
Well, we can see that there have been throughout history people who do believe in Jesus who do act also animalistic.
No.
There are.
They believe about him. Those who act that way,
Yeah.
they believe about him. They do
And
not
so
believe.
do you think
they believe it about Jesus is not knowing Jesus.
Right. And so do you think anyone who doesn't believe in Jesus is acting animalistic? Or could there be some people who don't believe in Jesus and don't act animalistic?
All people who have not returned to the Father is in an animal state.
Right. So the way I see that is, this is kind of the differences between Judaism and Christianity. And I think what your show does so well is that you bring different opinions and they're able to engage respectfully, where today we're living in a time where just because you have different opinions, you're attacking one another. So I think
automatic attack.
Right. So I think it's very healthy to be able to differ, but to differ respectfully.
Absolutely.
So if you look at Christianity, you look at a person who's sinning. And all they need to do in order to go away from that sin or to be repented from that sin is accept Jesus. And for Judaism, we don't say you need to accept a person and then you're forgiven, but you need to work on yourself. You need to repent from within and say, what did I do wrong? How do I fix it? How do I change my behavior? So I think the fundamental differences within Christianity and Judaism is Christianity saying you could be a horrible person as long as you accept Jesus, you're going to heaven. You could be a great person, you didn't accept Jesus, you're not going to heaven. For Judaism, heaven is not really a place, it's more a reality that we need to bring to this world. But your repentance is based on your self-work. And as long as we're breathing and living here, we have the opportunity to be able to elevate ourselves and the world around us.
Amazing. But I got so much more I want to ask you. But I do want you to know that God, nor Jesus, has anything to do with religion at all. And that's why they have this dumb idea that all you have to do is accept Jesus and you're going to be saved, you're going to heaven. That's not true. And that's why the Christian people are horrible people, because they have not, they don't know what it means to accept Jesus. That's why they're still evil, nasty, revengeful, jealous. Nothing has changed because they have not accepted. Jesus doesn't have anything to do with Christianity at all.
So you believe in self-accountability and working to make ones better.
You got to work on yourself.
That's great. That's amazing.
Amazing. But that's what Jesus said, and that's what God meant and said too. It's this kingdom of heaven is inside of us. It's not expressing some dumb words.
Right.
And that's what they do. But anyway, let me ask. Do you have dual citizenship? Are you here in America?
I have 3 citizenships.
Do you have 3?
Yeah.
Like where?
France, Israel, and America.
So you have all those citizenships?
Yeah, but for me, those are pieces of paper.
Meaning what?
Meaning that if you look at Jewish history, Jews have lived in many different places, and we've been persecuted in many of those places. You had Jews that were living in Germany during the Holocaust that had German citizenships, and yet that piece of paper didn't mean anything as they were being taken into work camps and death camps. So for me, it's just a piece of paper that gives you a status of equality within a society, but I'm very honest that I'm not American. I'm not French, I'm Israeli. I don't vote in foreign elections because it's not up to me to dictate to another country what leader they should have. If I am present, I live in Israel, but if I do come and visit in a different place, I have to respect the law. I have to be able to elevate the society around me. And I always make sure that I'm honest, that I'm an Israelite. I'm not an American, I'm not a French, even though I have a piece of paper.
So you you're Israel first person?
Only.
Israel only?
Yeah, well, not in the sense of America only where you don't want to have relations with anyone else, but I'm only an Israelite. Right. I'm not an American, I'm not a French person, I'm not anything else but a member of the nation of Israel.
And you were part of the IDF soldier, right?
Correct. Every 18-year-old has to join the army.
I know, that's amazing, I like that.
Yeah.
And so what was it like being How old were you when you went to the Army?
So I actually joined a bit earlier. I joined at 17.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was in 2011. I joined right out of high school. I served my time as a sniper in the paratroopers. And since then, I've been on reserves. So even over the past 2 years, since October 7th, I've been in Gaza, in Lebanon, and Syria fighting the wars of Israel as a reservist already over 10 years after the Army.
Wow. You're not going to ever quit?
Usually you serve until you're about 40 years old.
Oh,
unless you have something that comes up, like an injury or some other situation that happens in your life. But for me, I look at it as an honor that we have to defend our country, to defend our people, to make sure that there's life over death.
Amazing, man. So you're a Jewish Israeli rights activist. What does that mean?
There's a lot of movements that seek to attack the Jewish people, both physically and ideologically. After my time in the Army, I started university in the US. I started at UCLA and then I transferred to Columbia University. And in those spaces, people are attacking Israel philosophically, ideologically, trying to boycott it, attacking it economically. And so it's part of my job, not just to defend Israel and the Jewish people physically when it's in battle, but also mentally, spiritually, ideologically in these different spaces. And so I debate people, I go on the news, I try to create content that shifts people's perception of who the Jewish people is. So they're both spiritual wars, but there's a physical war and there's an ideological war. And I'm in both of them.
That's amazing. I grew up in Alabama on a plantation. And when I was growing up, we were taught to love Israel, and that if it wasn't for Judaism, there would be no Christianity. So I've always have seen Israel and Christians as being one, brothers in God, right? And I grew up, just couldn't wait to go to Israel because I read the Bible and I read everything in the Bible is in Israel, or, around and about. And so I got the chance to go, and I realized that, as I told you earlier, if I was God and you want to go to heaven, you will have to visit Israel first. You come up to the pearly gate, I would tell Noah or one of those guys to go answer the gate and ask them first, did you go to Israel? And they say no, you have to go back to earth or back to hell or find your way somewhere.